welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Day in South Florida where the Bills meet the Dolphins. New England has won the AFC East. Now a big game for Miami. A Dolphin win assures the Dolphins of home field in the playoffs next weekend. But beware the Bills. Right now they're a team you don't want to play. The kickoff is next. You see the weather conditions, 64 degrees, heavy rains earlier, and there could be more. As you look at Greg Williams, the first-year head coach of the Bills, who calls his team a dangerous team right now. Dave Wannstedt's done a tremendous job. You see his record in his second season as head coach of the Dolphins, 11-5 last year. A win today makes them 11-5 again this season.
Dave Wannstedt wondering today if his club realizes how important the home field advantage is in a playoff game. This is the team that's been out of the playoffs in the second round for the last 2 years. They need to step it up again this year.
The Dolphins, though, are the only NFL team to be in the playoffs the last 5 years in succession. Ball blows off the kicking tee. Olindo Mare, a very good kickoff man, will kick off. Before the game, with now they can't bring their own ball out, as you know, Steve. These balls are like rocks, the kickers tell us. He was kicking off to the 5-yard line, which is very good.
Yeah, he's using the old practice football to do that. You can see him there working the football, trying to get it sticky, trying to soften it up. I'm telling you, Don, it is a hard ball to kick. But this Dolphin team, you don't talk about high expectations in the playoffs. This is the 5th year in succession. They want to go the distance this year. These fans will accept nothing less.
One of their best players, Zach Thomas, will not play today. Linebacker is hurt down to the goal line. Here comes Avion Black with a 20. Gets a gap and gets it out to the 24-yard line. A good return of 25 yards by Avion Black, and now the Bills go on offense with Alex Van Pelt at quarterback, starting his 8th game. He's been very effective. You see his overall numbers: 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Has been very tough to sack. He's sacked only once every 24 attempts. Rob Johnson, who was injured in the New England game, was sacked once every 8 attempts, even less than that, once every 7.8. So Van Pelt's made a big difference there.
He's been a tough quarterback to get to, Don. He gets rid of the football.
There's the toss pitch that's worked so well to Sean Bryson, but not on that play, as he's taken down to the 20-yard line. Bryson has rushed for over 100 yards the last 2 games, and he's averaging for the season almost 5 yards a carry. Look at the offensive blockers. Reuben Brown going back to the Pro Bowl again. Connerty, Hulsey, and the rookie Jonas Jennings. John Fina injured at left tackle, a very good player when he's healthy. Bryson and centers, who's caught 77 balls. The backs, Moulds and Peerless Price, 2 very good wide receivers. Remersma, tight end. Back to the run again, and here is Bryson again on 2nd down and almost 13. And he is stopped by Kenny Mixon, so the Dolphins are ready to play the run early.
One of the things about this Dolphins defense is you look here with Ernest Grant getting the start today at the defensive tackle, and Jason Taylor. This is a group that is very, very good against the run because their cornerbacks play so well against the pass. Everybody else can throw it in the middle.
The Jets have just scored, we're told, out in Oakland, taking an early lead there. As the playoff picture becomes starting to focus now on this final day, here is a throw downfield. It's caught. Running ahead and getting for the first down yardage to the 33-yard line is Eric Moulds, who has absolutely been unstoppable against the Dolphins. In November 25th at Buffalo, he caught 6 for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns.
This is Alex Van Pelt looking back, looks to his right, then back over the middle. Eric Moulds has had good games against the Dolphins. Surprising. I think one of the reasons he does is because they match up man-to-man with Eric Moulds. Most teams double and triple team him, but the Dolphins have too much faith in their defensive backfield.
And there's a player down on the field, so a timeout while Reggie Germany, young wide receiver, is attended to.
A moment ago, Reggie Germany, you'll watch here, it's easy to see what happens. He gets helicoptered and right on the top of the head. He stayed down, but he's off on the sidelines now.
Big third down play, though, converting for a first down. Here's the throw, and Moulds takes it in again. Eric Moulds with catches on consecutive plays, a gain on the play of about 5 yards. Moulds has a playoff record in receiving. That was set against the Dolphins back in January of '99. He caught 9 for 240 yards.
And there you see Reggie German being attended to. A little crick in his neck, no doubt. But you're right, Don. Eric Moulds is a guy they have got to continue to get the football to. This offense has been criticized, and offensive coordinator Mike Shepard has been criticized for that fact alone.
With 2 catches today, Moulds has 63 for the season. Had over 90 last year. Here's Bryson, and he tries to go wide, and the Dolphin defense absolutely is set to stop that toss pitch.
That's exactly right. You see there's the Jets in Oakland getting off, and that's an important game in the AFC playoffs. But the Buffalo Bills run that toss pitch. They've gone to it a number of times here in the second half of the season. They call it the toss stretch, and what it does is it just gets the defense to run. But you know this Dolphin defense has been watching that on film and watching the Buffalo Bills have success with it. They've done nothing but practice against it all week.
But they have not stopped Van Pelt. He is 2 of 2 throwing the ball for 18 yards. They're down. Here comes a blitz. A throw, and might be intercepted. It looks like it is. It looks like it's taken by Arturo Freeman, number 27. They were going at Peerless Price. So a huge play early in the game for the Dolphins as they come up with a key turnover. The Bills are stopped. Miami takes over in good field position.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36. Chrysler, drive equals love. And by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beer.
Back to Pro Player Stadium, Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Miami has defeated the Bills 5 of the last 6 meetings here. Miami's beaten the Bills 6 of the last 7 overall. Right now, Jay Fiedler and the Dolphin offense in good position on the interception return. Arturo Freeman picking it off, running it back about 4 yards, and now they run on first down to the 40-yard line.
A moment ago, you saw that interception, and the Dolphins kind of like this. Arturo Freeman making this play. He's a backup safety, but Dolphins fans will know this guy may be the starting safety next year for the Dolphins, given the state of the salary cap and the things that happen in the offseason. That guy may be a starter next year, and if you just have your backups doing it this year, that bodes well for the future for this team.
Second-year player from South Carolina, Arturo Freeman, now setting in the shotgun on 2nd down and 8. Is Jay Fiedler. In 4 games this year, his first pass has been intercepted. This time they go to a quick hitch. Get it out to the rookie Chris Chambers with his 46th catch of the year. And Pat Williams, a tremendous defensive lineman, makes the stop, who's back in the Bills lineup. You see Fiedler's numbers. 19 interceptions has been a problem. Although he played beautifully in the win over the Bills, the come from behind win at Orchard Park November 25th.
One thing about Jay Fiedler, he does have the ability to run and run well. And he says, interestingly enough, when I run the ball early a couple of times, when I have a good day running, that's when also I have my best day passing. That's just attributed and tells you how much that breaks a defense down when a quarterback breaks contain and takes off.
Well, he averages 4.5 yards a rush, as you know, Steve. Former standout decathlete Jay Fiedler, and he's only been sacked 24 times, which is low, and now we have a false start.
Illegal snap. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Tim Reddy pulled a pump fake there, as you see there, the center, and he is a good one. Believe me, you won't see him do that very many times.
Bills will attack the left side of that offensive line. That's been giving up some pass rush. Lamar Smith and Dion Dye will see a lot of Travis Minor in the backfield, the young back out of Florida State, who's played so well. Lamar Smith averaging under 3 yards a carry this season. And the shotgun on 3rd down and 9. Here's the rush, a blitz, and Fiedler is sacked all the way back at the 44-yard line, and they do indeed attack the left side of the pass blocking. That was Pearson Prelo coming unimpeded on a blitz. Nobody picked it up.
Well, Jerry Gray picked his spot very well, and they found Pearson Prelo lately. He's a free agent on the screen pass. Nobody picked him up, and he got there before Jay Fiedler. could unload that pass before the screen pass could even get developed. He was all over Jay Fiedler. They like his presence in the backfield. He's an aggressive run stopper and obviously a good blitzer.
Real good blitzer. Now the punt by Matt Turk, beautifully hit downfield. Bills will let it hit. And will it be downed? It will be indeed at the 5-yard line. So a tremendous special teams play. Matt Turk booming the ball 50 yards, and it's down. No score yet. Bills and the Dolphins. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Steve, in your days with the Bills, you probably played here 15 times. Is the warm weather a big advantage for the Dolphins?
Late in the year, no way. I mean, the players get off this plane in Fort Lauderdale Airport, and the Buffalo Bills soak this weather up like a dry sponge in a bucket of water.
Is that right, Dave?
Yeah. They love playing in this weather.
No adjustment time, huh?
Not at all.
Well, now there's some adjustment to be made because this Miami defense is coming after Van Pelt. Bills ready to run the ball and try to get it out of the 5-yard line. The eye back gets it. Bryson slams it in there and gets to about the 7. But the Dolphins very well schooled defensively against this run attack. Again, make a jarring hit. Tim Bowens, 95, was the first to make the tackle. Also on the play was Tommy Hendricks, starting at middle backer for Zach Thomas.
Well, one of the things about this Bills team in the past few weeks, they've played much better because they've had a good running game. But they weren't playing against playoff teams.
Second down and 7. Sanders swings out of the backfield. They're looking that way. A long ball downfield. And the coverage is ruled good all the way. Fearless Price the target. Patrick Surtain was with him stride for stride. Surtain made a huge play in the game at Orchard Park. He forced a fumble on a kickoff return by Nate Clements. Led to the Miami come from behind win.
Alex Van Pelt has been a big difference maker. You see, it came in his head, and this was the first game against the Dolphins, and played extremely well and got him off to a good start. This will be his 8th game as the Bills quarterback, and in 2 short months, he's earned himself a chance at a contract extension and made perhaps Rob Johnson expendable in Buffalo.
That seems to be the thinking. Van Pelt picks up a bounce ball and wisely throws it away on 3rd down, so the Bills will punt from their end zone. The Bills averting a disaster there as the ball was on the field, but Van Pelt came up with it, took a fortuitous bounce.
You'll watch here, he just drops it out. That's Alex Van Pelt popping out too early, and this is a smart play, and that's what Alex Van Pelt has been able to do. Just stay away from the disaster play and give your team a chance to stay in the ball game, and that's helped Buffalo play much better in the past 2 months.
Punt block attempt might be on. Hunting from his end zone for the Bills is Brian Moorman. Here comes the rush. He hits an end-over-end punt. Jeff Ogden is back. And Ogden picks it up on the 1-hop and is quickly taken down inside the Bills' 45-yard line. So a 40-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Dolphins ball.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel. Nextel, how business gets done. And by Burger King, home of the Whopper.
We're back as the Dolphins set to go on offense. They were 3 and out on their first possession, which came after an Arturo Freeman interception of Alex Van Pelt to the Bills. Dolphins a slow starting team, but they're the best in the NFL in the 4th quarter. They have 5 of their 10 victories coming from behind in the 4th quarter this season.
Now they're having a balanced offense with 2 tight ends. Look for him to maybe run the ball right up inside, Don.
Lamar Smith is the runner. He does indeed get the ball, and a hard hit is put on him as he advances to the Bills' 41-yard line. So we look now at the Bills on defense. 25th against the rush this season. Hanson's playing well. Pat Williams, who many felt was a Pro Bowl quality player, he's back in at tackle. Brandon Spoon, a rookie, and middle linebacker. Foreman coming out at outside backer. Winfield and Clements, a big concern of Dave Wanstead. When I was looking at the package yesterday, Steve, he said those 2 guys can pick off anything you throw their way. We've got to be very careful. And there's Jerry Gray, defensive coordinator for the Bills. Fiedler on 2nd and 7 triggers the ball nicely and gets it to the rookie Chris Chambers. 2nd-round draft choice from Wisconsin, who's been a big standout. Has caught balls for more yardage and more touchdowns than any rookie this season. 13 of them, first down. Smith again, and the gap. He is drilled hard. As coming up on the play was Jay Foreman. Log on to NFL.com and see why Phil Simms says there's no such thing as backing into the playoffs. If you're in, you're in. Check it out at NFL.com or America Online, keyword NFL.com. As Bill Parcells likes to say, you are what your record says you are. Right now, the record says the Dolphins are pretty darn good. The Bills are struggling, although they could close very well if they win this game. They would conclude their season with 2 divisional wins on the road. 2 wins in succession. But right now, it's the Dolphins who are challenging. Now a driving hit put on. As Pearson Prelo, who had the big sack earlier to stop the Dolphins, puts a run hit on. Prelo, good-looking player.
You know, one of the things about this Buffalo Bills team and the coaching staff has had problems evaluating the players they've got. They've got a lot of young players they're trying to find out about. But because of injuries, they've had to shuffle lineups, their defensive front, their defensive secondary. They feel they need to upgrade their safeties, which is why Pearson Prelo is in there, and he has been an upgrade. A very hard tackler and a physical player at safety, which is what you need.
He was physical on that run, a jarring hit. Now it's 3rd down and 3. Fiedler, who's a good runner in the shotgun, takes a look, makes a throw, makes the connection. First down, Dolphins down to the 6-yard line. Dedrick Ward getting the start, makes his 18th catch of the year.
That's an excellent play by the Dolphins. They put 5 guys out. Jay Fiedler's in the backfield by himself, and you spread the defense that thinly in the secondary, and you're going to find somebody. It's a 3-yard route. Greg Williams, look, there's no way to cover that. You got 5 guys wide, and the Buffalo Bills defense isn't strong enough in the secondary past their frontline guys to cover all the way across the field man to man.
Bills have only 19 takeaways on defense this year. Second fewest total in the league. Lamar Smith jumping over the top, and he gets a load of Keith Newman.
Yeah, that's a deep. That's the whole field changes down here. One of the things about the Dolphins, they have got a running game they like to stay with. Lamar Smith has struggled. He's got like an average of 2.9 yards per carry for the season. But to their defense, they keep giving him the ball. And I think that's important. On everybody says, well, you got to run the ball, and it's difficult to do that when you're not being successful. But it does help, even though you don't get a lot of yards.
He's a pounder. 2.9 per carry average this season. Over 800 yards coming in. Here's Fiedler taking a look. Here's a throw, and he overshoots. Chambers trying to sell interference. There's too much of that going on in the league now. Every guy that's covered waves his hands and he's fouled.
Yeah, well, you do it because sometimes you get the feeling that it works, and you'll try it. But I believe the officials say this ball might not have been catchable. Fiedler puts a little bit of mustard on this pass. Almost tipped there. Halfway there by Jay Foreman. And that's what you have to do down there. He's got to put a lot of mustard on that pass to get it through there. But that makes the ball uncatchable in the end zone.
3rd down and goal. Fiedler. Big drop. There's a throw. Open receiver, but it comes incomplete to Chambers. And now the Dolphins will have to settle for a field goal. I don't see a penalty mark. Everybody stopped like they're looking for one, but there's none out there.
Yeah, there was Chambers. It looked like when he went up for that football, got pushed out of the back of the end zone, and that should have been perhaps a penalty. But as it is, automatic Olindo Mare comes in, and look at that. He's only missed 1 field goal all year.
94%. 44th year kicker for Syracuse. It's 18 out of 19 now, so he's up over 95% on that 22-yarder. And the Dolphins on their home field take the early lead. .333 to go in the first quarter. The Dolphins with a 1st and goal at the Bills' 6-yard line have to settle for a field goal by Olindo. He's still working that ball, Steve.
He is, and he did well on the first opening kickoff. He got it all the way down to the goal line, which translated into a 22-yard starting point for the Buffalo Bills. We'll see what he can do with this kicking ball.
There were heavy winds this morning. Now they seem to have settled down. Mara again booms the ball downfield. Avion Black from the 2. 10, 20, and out to the 26-yard line. 24-yard return. The AFC playoff picture on this final day of the regular season coming more into focus now. The Steelers with home field throughout the AFC playoffs.
What you need to worry, Baltimore and New York, if they win, they're in. If either one of them loses, then Seattle's got a chance to get in with a win.
Del Weezo just kicked a field goal for Oakland. Janikowski's out with cellulitis in his foot. Gets on a 40-yard touchdown pass to open the scoring from Testaverde to Laveranues Coles. Van Pelt in trouble. And it'll be a foul as they got him by the face mask. Number 58 coming in, Scott Gallion, an outside linebacker. It'll be a first down for the Bills.
That may be a 15-yarder.
I think it is. Well, we'll see.
Yep.
Personal foul, roughing the quarterback.
That's a face mask. He got him with one arm. And the only reason that's a personal foul.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask and helmet opening. Defense number 58. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Now the reason that's a personal foul, yeah, he did face mask him, and it's not a 5-yard because it's the only place he had a hold of him. Watch here, it's the only thing he had to bring him down, and that's a 15-yarder. Alex Van Pelt will get away from this sack in the officials' estimation if that guy doesn't grab his face mask. That's why it's not a 5-yarder.
Gallion, the backup, the starter Derek Rogers out for the season. So the Bills advance on the penalty to their 34-yard line. Bryson earns it wide. He's got a lot of speed, but this Dolphin defense is once again right in step with him as he tries to go wide. Tonight on 60 Minutes, while security experts are reasonably certain they can protect the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City from terror attack, they tell 60 Minutes they're not too sure they can say the same about Athens when the Summer Olympics are held there 2.5 years from now. 60 Minutes tonight. Bills with no running yards. In fact, Bryson has 5 carries for -4 yards. So he's been targeted by the Dolphin defense. They're doing a great job shutting him down. Van Pelt stands in, dumps it off, gets it to his tight end Riemersma, but for no avail. He caught the ball but gained no yards.
Patrick Surtain all over him. The Dolphins in a zone defense there, and Alex Van Pelt had to get rid of this football because you can see there Jason Taylor coming off the corner. Surtain right there to make that tackle. One of the matchups for this offense as this game wears on is John Fina against Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor has 7.5 sacks this year, and he had 14.5 last year. It sounds like he had a worse year. He's had a better year this year with half the sacks.
He has 24 more tackles than the next nearest defensive lineman on the Dolphins. 84 tackles for Taylor. Van Pelt takes a look, firing downfield, and the receiver went down coming back at the ball. He's protesting, but looked like Larry Centers lost his footing cutting back if he wasn't fouled.
Van Pelt is down now.
Alex Van Pelt is indeed down.
Now the backup to Alex Van Pelt is Travis Brown.
Van Pelt's up now, walking off. They're really going for Van Pelt.
Yeah, he was running for his life right here. Watch here at the end of this play. That's Kenny Mixon getting him down. If you get a good handle on him, believe me, those guys have no mercy. If they've got a right to get you down, they're going to put you down with an attitude.
And there is the unwritten law in the league. You get ours, we'll get yours. There's going to be 2 quarterbacks getting hit hard today. Here is the punt hit downfield by Moorman. Ogden comes up on it. And it caroms out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. And there, the Dolphins will go back on offense, 1st and 10. Saturday, CBS Sports hoops it up with doubleheader excitement. First, it's conference crunch time when Georgetown battles Boston College and Big East play. Then in an SEC matchup, the Florida Gators meet Vanderbilt. Later, the Kansas Jayhawks take on UCLA at Los Angeles. For more, go to CBSSportsline.com. America Online keyword CBS Sportsline.
Now that's Alex Van Pelt getting looked at by the team doctor John Marzo, and there's Travis Brown. Now Travis Brown is the second quarterback. If you want to know who the emergency quarterback is, well, he's a tight end, Jay Riemersma.
Yeah, he wasn't a tight end until he was in his junior year at Michigan, he was telling us yesterday. Fiedler on the run, in trouble, and Fiedler goes down. Almost a late hit on Fiedler as Kendrick Office came in a little late. No flag.
Brought down by Schobel. This is a play that Jay Fiedler, I think, is very good at. He's got good athleticism, and the thing that makes him good at it, when he's running, He's just as accurate as he is when he's standing in the pocket. He makes good throws on the move. And that's why a guy like Jay Fiedler is so dangerous as a team. The Dolphins have a reputation for being a very conservative offense. But Jay Fiedler has confidence that if he needs to, he can make a play.
Fiedler, a very good ball faker. He can freeze the defense. Now the all-out rush against him. He dumps it over the middle and does well to get the ball away as he's hit just as he releases. Hit hard by Keith Newman coming on a blitz.
They were trying to set up a screen, and a week ago the Buffalo Bills, Phil Hansen caught an interception on a screen, but you'll see here everybody's getting right back in Jay Fiedler's lap. Gets a nice shot there from Keith Newman, but he gets rid of the football. But the rest of the defense had pitched camp around his intended receiver.
Jay Fiedler, Steve, hit his first 3 passes today. Now has missed his last 3. 3-0. Olindo Mare's 22-yard field goal, the only scoring. 3rd and 8. Bills are bringing up blitzers, and here they come hard. Fiedler standing in, fires the ball to a wide open receiver, Chris Chambers. And Chambers in the open field is inside the 40. And there's a penalty marker down in the Miami Dolphin backfield. 35-yard play if it goes, but if it's holding, it all comes back.
And I don't know, it may be.
Fiedler really stood in against a rush there. It's against the Bills.
Holding defense, number 53. This penalty is declined. First down.
You had an idea that it might go against the Buffalo Bills because the head official was running downfield. He knew it was going to go ahead and count. Keith Newman gets called for holding, not letting the receiver release out of the offensive backfield, and well, the play goes
for 35 yards as Fiedler stood in against a blitz. Chambers has eaten up the Bills. Number 84 there, stretching out his leg. He's caught 3 for 48 yards, and for the season he has now caught 48 catches. He averaged almost 19 yards a catch. Fiedler on the run. Fiedler is taken down at the 36-yard line, and Wannstedt yelling for a flag. Thought that somebody went head-to-head with his quarterback. It's going to get mean out there after Van Pelt was hit. We'll return after this message. We're back and ready to go at the start of the second quarter. It looked like Jay Fiedler was fouled there. There was no flag, but as he slid, Tyrone Robertson of the Bills went helmet to helmet.
Yeah, I think the Bills got away with one right there. You don't hit helmet to helmet with a quarterback, especially on a playoff team late in the season.
Second down coming up now, and 8 yards to go for the Dolphins.
How about there? Well, I got to be somewhere, boys.
Fiedler. Near side throw, and a little too much on it as he shoots near side, going for James McKnight.
We spoke a moment ago about Jay Fiedler, and he does run with the football, but quarterbacks know. Watch him. He's going to go feet first, and it's a quick hit, but watch, bang. That's a nasty helmet-to-helmet hit, and I'm surprised that was not called. Very surprised.
We're waiting to see if Van Pelt comes back in after he injured his throwing shoulder when he was slammed to the turf earlier. The backup, an undrafted free agent for the Buffalo Bills, and that's Travis Brown, who did some mop-up work last year at Seattle. He's out of Northern Arizona. No playing time. So Bill, here is a near side throw, nicely done. The ball is given out to Dietrich Ward, and the Bills shut that down on 3rd down and 8. So it would be a long Olindo Mare field goal attempt.
And they're going to go ahead and punt it away.
A little too long.
A little too long.
What about the attitude on a team, though, when your quarterback gets hurt?
Here they're going to kick it. I'm sorry, Don.
Yeah,
Olindo was hiding out in the big guys. He stepped out of the crowd.
Van Pelt looks like he's trying to stretch out that arm. But what about what goes through a team's mind collectively if your quarterback gets slammed down, or if he gets fouled like Fiedler was?
It gets your hackles up. I mean, you do want a little revenge. You don't like that. I don't care what team you are. If you're not going to the playoffs, you're in the playoffs. This is the last game of the season. These players, whether they've won a lot of games or lost, they've been through a lot together, and they're friends. They don't want to see their guy take it.
Here's the field goal attempt. Mare kicks it up, and he is short. 49-yard field goal attempt by Olindo Mare, who is 0 for 0. He's not kicked a 50-yarder. 2 for 3 to 49. Don Cricky with Steve Tasker back at Pro Player Stadium. Dave Wanstead seeing his Dolphins with a 3-0 lead. Olindo Mara just missing a 49-yard field goal. Just his second miss of the year. And there is Travis Brown in the game at quarterback for the Bills, who's never been on the field for the Bills. And Pelt injuring his throwing shoulder when he was slammed down in the last Bills possession. Here's a swing pass. Completed, but nicely defended by the Dolphins as big Tim Bowens at 320 pounds runs it down for a loss on the play.
Now, Tim Bowens smelled that play out and had enough wheels for a big man to run that play down. Travis Brown, you see there, the guy in there letting him throw on the first snap he's taken all season.
No warm-up time, and probably had no snaps during the week. I'm sure he had none.
Yeah, he got in one game last year, has had one career pass attempt. Now he's had two.
Well, he's 1 for 1, albeit for lost yardage. Here comes the rush. Here's a throw, and the ball is slapped down as he's shooting at centers, and now a Bill is down. Looks like he's going to be all right. Reuben Brown is getting up.
This is what happens when you get a backup quarterback in there. You know, the thought is, okay, they're just going to let him hand off and get his feet under him. Why do that when you're the Buffalo Bills in a lost season? Let the guy come out and sling it around a little bit, see what he's got. You see Alex Van Pelt.
Well, he can sling it around, Travis Brown. He once threw for almost 500 yards in the college game. That was against Montana, not the Dolphins. They're down. They need 12. Blitzers come. Travis Brown lets it go long. Mullins is out there. He was held, and there's no foul.
I don't think he was held. I think he was cut off. I think the defensive back ran in front of him and wouldn't let him get past.
He stopped for some reason then.
You can see that Travis Brown coming in and getting 3 attempts, 1, 2, and 3. Let him throw the football. Make sure the Dolphins know you've got confidence in his arm. Let him get a look at it.
No harm, no foul. They're going to let him play today.
We saw that with Jay Fiedler and Alex Van Pelt earlier. I don't think Travis Brown's going to get a break.
Now Moorman into punt. It's a high punt downfield. Ogden steps under it at the 23. Yep, Ogden finds an open lane. One man to beat, that's Moorman. And Moorman doesn't, then he finally goes out of bounds, but all the way down at the 30-yard line of Buffalo. A great return by Ogden, a 41-yard punt, and he ran it back 48 yards.
That was an excellent return by the Dolphins. It was a pretty good punt outside the numbers, or almost the edge of the numbers. It was in the air long enough, and the coverage just isn't there. You see there, all set up by the Dolphins. They had the front line stopped. When Ogden broke through the first line of coverage, he was gone. And Brian Moorman was the last guy to have a chance at him. He did the right thing and ran him out of bounds.
Barely. Moorman looked like a man who's never hit anybody.
He still hasn't.
First and 10 now for Fiedler and the Dolphins. Pitch back. Lamar Smith cutting back, breaking into open field, and he's inside the 20 and down to the 19-yard line. An 11-yard gain on the play.
You got to tip your hat to the Dolphins today. They've been talking about all week about the importance of the New England Patriots game, and if the New England Patriots lost, the Dolphins could not only get a home playoff game, but get a bye week, which is huge. And now that that's not going to happen, you thought that they'd be a little bit deflated coming out. Hard to get motivated, even though the game means a playoff game at home. Getting a bye week is a big deflating factor, but they have come out and played very, very well early on.
Dolphins with a 3-0 lead, challenging again. And to the near side the ball goes, and Ward takes it down close to the 10-yard line. Jets Raiders. The Raiders missed the extra point. Their new kicker Del Wiso, and they now lead the Jets 9-7.
And I've been involved in games like this, like the Dolphins are today, where the game looked like it was going to have huge significance, and then that significance is wiped away and it only has a little bit of significance. It's difficult to keep your edge mentally, but the Dolphins have done that. I think that's a tribute to Dave Wanstead and his coaching staff. We spoke to him the other day, and you could tell they were on the right track.
Here comes an all-out blitz. Run blitz, and Lamar Smith is stuck, and he's still driving. He gets inside the 15-yard line. The Bills, despite their 3-12 record, are a team that won't quit. The Dolphins were all talking about that.
I'm talking over It looked like a penalty on the play.
Offside. Defense, number 99. In the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Fred Jones lined up in the neutral zone. And that's something that the Bills cannot afford. Their margin of error isn't such that they can make mistakes like that and still continue to win ball games.
Ball now positioned as defensive coordinator Jerry Gray looks on at the 9-yard line of the Bills. Remember, the Dolphins had the ball earlier in the game. First and goal at the 6 and had to settle for a field goal. Only got to the 4. Right back to the hammer. Lamar Smith working hard, protecting the ball. Both arms around it. Takes it close to the 5-yard line. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights, plus the latest playoff update. Jets trailing by 2 at Oakland. Jim Nance had an interesting observation on the NFL today. He said the Jets have not won at Oakland since 1962. He said Joe Namath was a sophomore in Alabama.
That's true, but you got to remember that Raiders were in L.A. for a few years and they did lose out there, but not in Oakland.
The pile moves, and does he go in? No arms up yet. This is coming in. It's very close. It'll be 3rd and inches if he's not in. Lamar Smith running the ball.
No signal yet, but I'll tell you what, the Miami Dolphins offensive line got it. That's a touchdown.
So the Dolphins have 2 big wins so far. They're jumping out now, a point away from a 10-0 early lead, and they've knocked the Bills quarterback out of the game.
And they watch the surge up front of the offensive line. Lamar Smith is nothing special. He just kind of comes in and let's go, guys, push me through. And he ends up in the end zone. Right there. And Lamar Smith just following his blockers, riding the wave into the end zone. The Buffalo Bills on their heels.
Murray gets the extra point up and good. So Lamar Smith doing yeoman's work, his 8th touchdown of the season, and Greg Witham sees his Bills down 10-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 200-horsepower Acura RSX Type S. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And by Staples. Staples has everything you need for your business at great low prices.
We're back and ready to go at Pro Player Stadium. Weather good now in South Florida after heavy rains earlier today and a lot of wind. Now the sun has broken through, and Lamar Smith broken through for him. He's in the end zone for the first time in 5 games with a touchdown. The kickoff by Murray's hit down. And here comes Sean Bryson. And the Dolphin tacklers are giving Sean Bryson nothing today. He's gone nowhere. Scrimmage and on a kick return. The way they've beaten that kid up in Pittsburgh.
He's had to overcome more things than just on the field opponents.
Had a great year. All those guys did up there. Here is Bryson now finally working for some positive room. Jets and the Raiders in Oakland. For more on that, Jim Nance. Jim?
Well, the Jets got up early, Don, on a touchdown pass Testaverde to Coles, but the Raiders take the lead. Wheatley from 3 yards out. Brad Daloiso, their kicker for Janikowski this week, missed the point after. 9-7. Back to Don and Steve.
Thank you, Jim. Daloiso was the guy who was kicking for the Giants last season. Brown hands off. Bryson breaks a tackle, and the Dolphins are going to get him again. Tremendous defense by the Dolphins. Ernest Grant leading the charge. Jim Bates, the D coordinator, really has this defense fine-tuned to stop the Buffalo run game, which has been so strong the last couple of weeks.
Look at the defensive line. Jason Taylor gets into the backfield, and then the 2 defensive tackles, Haley and Hendricks and Bowens, just move over and make the play. Not only do they disrupt the running play in the backfield, they dominate the line of scrimmage. The running game for Buffalo has been non-existent.
Jim Bates, you saw there on the headset from on high up in the press box. Falling down the defenses. 3rd down. Travis Brown has to throw. Here comes the blitz. The throw and an incomplete pass. Moles looking for a foul call. No flag. Patrick Surtain covering. And well,
it's obvious now that the Dolphins know that Travis Brown has not thrown very many passes, they're going to come after him and stop everything at the line of scrimmage. If you're going to beat the Dolphins today, you're going to have to do it past 10 yards down the field. They're going to make Travis Brown throw the football to win.
And Travis Brown has virtually no playing experience in the NFL.
You can't argue with that philosophy.
Long way to go. Here is the punt hit downfield by Moorman. You'll remember the last one to Ogden was run back 48 yards. This time he works the sideline for about 4. So the Dolphins with an early 10-0 lead, 8:51 to go in the half after that 46-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Honda Accord. It's advanced, it's roomy, it's the Accord. And by Gateway, where you've got a friend in the business.
10-0. Dolphins lead the Bills. The Bills have won 2 of their last 4 in the 2 losses. One was in overtime, and the other was on a 52-yard field goal against Atlanta as time ran out. So Greg Williams has an improving team. First-year head coach, new defensive system, new offensive system. And now an untried quarterback with Van Pelt down with an injured right shoulder. Turning the corner is Travis Minor, who played for a national championship team with the Florida State Seminoles. Prelo makes the stop. As we look at the scoreboard, New England winning today at Charlotte 38-6 over the Panthers.
Rarely enough, now New England turns around and starts rooting for the Jets.
That's a rare occurrence. Patriots rooting for the Jets, but of course if the Jets should beat the Raiders, the Patriots would have next weekend off. In fact, the Patriots, if they got next weekend off, would play 1 game in a month. Nobody in the league's ever gone through that. They played 2 weeks ago, then they had the bye week, played today, and they'd be off next week, wouldn't play again for 2 weeks.
I think that's good for the Patriots, not bad though.
Don't you get rusty?
I don't think so.
Too much rest is not enough. What a throw by Fiedler as he hits Dedrick Ward over the middle. Beautifully thrown ball, timed to a backup receiver for 18 yards and a first down. As we go now for a Seattle Seahawks, Kansas City Chiefs, upstate to Jim Nantz.
All right, Don, you showed the score a moment ago. Here's how the Seahawks got in. It was Dilfer to Darrell Jackson, the former Florida Gator, 7-0. Seattle must do its part and then hope for either a Jets or Ravens loss to make the playoffs. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
How can you not have Trent Dilfer as your quarterback? He won his last 5 starts for Tampa Bay, went to the Ravens, quarterbacked them to a Super Bowl championship, and they caught him. And now he's won for him last week and might be doing it again this week.
Hasn't been beaten since.
Travis Minor, an undersized back, is stopped by Kendrick Office. Travis Minor out of Florida State was the #1 high school football player in America when he came out of Baton Rouge Catholic, the school that produced the great Tampa Bay running back, and also Major Applewhite.
Yeah, this Travis Minor has been a huge find for the Dolphins. A great 3rd down back, a great compliment to Lamar Smith, the banger, physical runner, and Travis Minor with some speed and great hands out of the backfield.
Warwick Dunn preceded him, and also at Florida State. Now the Tampa Bay Bucks, as Minor runs, averaging 5 yards a carry. He had 98 yards running and receiving last week against Atlanta. He averaged 6 yards every time he touched the ball, did Travis Minor.
Took a nice hit there from Tyrone Robertson. The way this game is unfolding, Don, with the disarray that the Buffalo offense is in with Travis Brown at quarterback, you got to think Jay Fiedler may not drop back to throw the football very much today. But except now that it's 3rd and 9, he may have to.
Setting in the shotgun with backs to either side and 3 wideouts, limited protection, so the Bills are sending a blitz. Here it comes, an all-out blitz. Fiedler steps in and they'll get him. Bills thought there wasn't much protection, so they overloaded.
Well, you can see it coming. You're right, Don. Only 3 players in the pattern for the Dolphins, and the Bills still found a way to get to Jay Fiedler. They picked the right 2 guys to double cover on the outside. You see the stunt up inside. Newman coming on the outside, knocks the back right past Fiedler, and the traffic and the junk and everything just collapsed around Fiedler. He has nowhere to run to. If you've got a quarterback that can run, just don't give him any room.
Peerless Price now standing back at the 11-yard line, and ready to punt the ball is Matt Turk for the Dolphins. Well hit ball. Turk placing the ball beautifully in this game. And again, he has the ball downed inside the 10-yard line. So the Dolphins' kick game has been terrific. Scott Gagnon came down, number 58, and down the ball. So the Bills, with an untried quarterback, now have the long field to go. Coming Tuesday, January 5th.
The thing that's interesting, Don, about this game is Travis Brown is getting a chance to play really some extended action for the first time in his career. No matter how this game goes, whether it goes great for him or very bad, this is what he's going to think about for the entire offseason.
Not a lot of good memories so far. Here is way out there, beautifully thrown ball to Moles, and again he is. You say the guy's getting in his way, but his free striding down the field is very limited.
Yeah, Travis Brown overthrew Moles on that one, but you know that they've got to find a way to get the ball out of Travis Brown's hands, try to get it into the hands of Eric Moles, but you're playing against one of, if not the best, cornerback tandems in the National Football League, and probably the best secondary.
Alex Van Pelt, you just saw, was slammed down without no penalty call on his right shoulder when he was tackled legally, and has now returned to the game. Now Brown up against it. Second down and 10 from deep in his own end. Dolphins jump offside. We'll see if they were drawn off as we had encroachment, and now Sean Bryson.
They let that play run. Usually they'll call that play because of unabated progress into the backfield. But it was happened so late, the officials let that play go. As you see there, it'll be obviously against the Dolphins.
Offside. Defense, number 99. In the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Dave Wanstadt's Dolphins have held the Bills to 13 offensive yards in this game.
Jason Taylor there, you'll see right at the top, you see there, he just comes in. He's a guy that wants to have a great game. He knows that the Bills have got to contend with him. It's an overmatch for him against the left tackle, John Feenan, and he wants to make hay.
Now is the new dad in the backfield, Sammy Morris, and they give him nothing as they're run blitzing, Steve. They're sending their linebackers on blitzes into the gap on every snap. Jets have scored on a block punt returned by Aaron Glenn for a touchdown. So the Jets aren't going away quietly as many expected them to do.
They were in a win and you're in situation last week against this Buffalo Bills team, and they couldn't get it done in their own stadium, but they have been a great road team, have the Jets this year. They're proving it again today in Oakland.
6-1 on the road, I think they are.
Yeah.
Third down. Need 5. Travis Brown takes a look, throws the ball, and it's dropped by Moles. And Travis Brown had it on his hands, came in a little low, so the Bills will again punt the ball from deep in their own end. Tim Bowen's putting the heat on. Big guy whose main job is just jamming up the middle and keeping blockers off Zach Thomas, but not today. Zach is out with an injured shoulder, but he'll be ready to go in the first playoff game.
Buffalo is getting to the point here late in the first half that they need one of their players offensively to make a play for their young quarterback. Hasn't happened yet.
Last report on Alex Van Pelt, his return is questionable. He's not been definitely ruled out the rest of the game. Good hit by Mormon downfield. And the ball takes a bounce back towards the punter. So the Dolphins will again start on the Buffalo side of the field. The National Conference playoff picture after that 28-yard punt. St. Louis will have home field all the way through with a win today over Atlanta.
But if they lose, Chicago will get home field.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, Don, if St. Louis, the only way you're going to keep them out of the Super Bowl this year is to get them out of that dome that they play at home in. If they have to go on the road to Chicago to clinch a Super Bowl berth, they may struggle.
How about a bizarre game? Philadelphia, Tampa Bay today means absolutely nothing. Next week, Tampa Bay at Philadelphia in a wild card game means everything. Here's a handoff up the middle, and again, Lamar Smith breaks it open as the defensive front of the Bills is getting ripped open by the Miami offensive running game, a 12-yard gain.
The Miami Dolphins, if they wanted some way or in some shape or form to get into the playoffs with a head of steam, it looks like they're headed that way today. They're physically dominating the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense, and Lamar Smith is the beneficiary of it.
Lamar Smith, who has had limited production this year from a per carry average standpoint, 2.9 a carry, having a big day today. Bill's going to run blitz now as they jam their linebackers up. And the carry on first down is good for to the line of scrimmage. That's all. Aaron Schobel, a rookie defensive end, gets him down.
You know, looked like he almost just tripped, but Schobel got credit for the tackle. Once again, they run a handoff right up the middle, and then they try that stretch pitch. Watch here. Trips over his own lineman's foot right there. That's Spencer Falau, the left tackle. And that's what happens. You know, as a defense, you'll take it any way you can get it. You hope the guy pulls a muscle if that'll help.
Greg Williams told us the only way they could stop the runner for the Jets last week, Curtis Martin, was if Martin got cramps. He said we couldn't tackle him. Penalty markers now at the snap of the ball. There was some speculation here in South Florida that Steve Spurrier, who recently resigned as coach of the Florida Gators, could be a candidate to replace Dave Wannstedt. But more on that in a moment.
Offside. Defense number 94, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The rookie Schobel left early, but Eddie Jones, the president of the Dolphins, I'm sure after conferring with owner Wayne Huizenga, announced that no such consideration. Spurrier won't be coming to the Dolphins. In fact, a contract extension will be negotiated for Wannstedt, who was 11-5 in his first year and is looking to go 11-5 in his second year. There's the owner of the Dolphins.
Too smart a guy to let a coach who's been to the playoffs in his first 2 years go. I mean, Dave Wannstedt is a coach that the players play hard for.
Lamar Smith slams it up the middle on second down and 5. He gets about 4. And Brandon Spoon brings him down.
As you can see, right up in between the tackles. They hand it to the back, right between the tackles, and there's just too much push not to get some yards.
Miami leading 10-0. Dolphins in command and driving again. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. The Bills with only 13 yards offense so far. What to do with a backup quarterback who hasn't played?
Well, there's not much they can do because the Dolphins are dictating the play. They're playing the way a playoff team should play. You talk about the team in New York Jets, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Seattle Seahawks still struggling to get a clinch a playoff run. Well, the Dolphins have got that, and it shows. They're a solid football team.
The lights are on here at Pro Player Stadium, but the field looks a little dark, doesn't it?
It's been sunny and warm, cold and wet, and now it's getting back to warm and a little bit cloudy.
As you came down from Buffalo, got hit with 7 feet of snow in 5 days. And now the Dolphins are hitting the Bills with another storm named Lamar Smith, an 11-yard gain up the middle. They're really ripping it up. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights, plus the latest playoff update. You want to know who's going to win games? Those guys are good at picking them.
Yeah.
They are. Coach Glanville.
I'm glad somebody is, because I can't.
First and goal. Dolphins. Would this be an early knockout punch? Lamar Smith again. Well, the game plan's not complicated. Right at the Bills defense. Defensive end Phil Hansen told us last night. In the past, Wannstedt's always wanted to run the ball right at us. This year, he's gone to a lot more trick plays and different looking things. But today, it's shot to the mouth football.
Now, in the short yard, you'll see there's Ray Lucas.
He can run options.
That's a guy, yeah, he's an athlete, but they've got a package in. There's nothing's wrong with Jay Fiedler. Ray Lucas is a good short yardage quarterback because he can run and he's a physical player.
Could be an option. He likes to roll out. He hands off to Lamar Smith, and he's slammed back. On a second and goal from the 2, Lamar Smith is driven back by the aforementioned Phil Hansen. Phil Hansen said, I can't believe what it's like not to go to the playoffs 2 years in a row. He said, I've always been in the playoffs. Jay Fiedler doing a great job. You know, because the guy went to Dartmouth, a lot of people don't think he's a good athlete. This guy had a track scholarship as a decathlete to Stanford. He also got a math degree, Jay Fiedler, in 3.5 years, so we know Mrs. Fiedler didn't raise any dummy.
Yeah, he's well equipped to play quarterback in the NFL, that's for sure.
Right now his backup Ray Lucas is in. Could he run the option on third down? There it is. Nothing. They got to kick a field goal.
Yeah, Pat Williams ran that down. Pat Williams is coming off a broken leg. And that'll show you the kind of player he is. That's why, a lot of people question whether he could play a whole season. He'd never done it before. He came in and has played very well. Watch, right there he is as he comes off the side. He's just going to run down the line. Excellent play by a big man on the defensive line.
He had a terrific year, Cat Williams. He is big. They list him at 310. I think he used to be. Now a timeout signal for by the Dolphins with just a second to go in the half.
To catch a master thief,
You're playing both sides.
you have to be one. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery, the network premiere of Entrapment, CBS tonight.
Golden Globe nominee Simon Baker stars in The Guardian.
I am here to represent that child.
And things are about to get more dramatic,
Don't come to my office.
more emotional,
Are you using?
Because I have a legal disagreement with you, think I...
Never mind!
and more compelling.
You got a problem?
All new Guardian, CBS Tuesday.
Olindo Mare on the field again. A place kicker who grew up nearby to this stadium, then played for Syracuse, and one of the great place kickers really of all time when you look at his percentages. 20-yard field goal concludes the half, and the Dolphins extend their lead to 13-0. Coming up next, it's the Nextel halftime report. But first, this message, and then a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
13-0 Miami at halftime. Welcome to Manhattan. Jim Nantz, the Nextel halftime report. My buddies are here. Mike Ditka, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville. A lot to talk about here, including, well, not only the way the Dolphins are playing here, trying to get that home game next week in the wild card round, but elsewhere, Kansas City and Seattle. Well, let's talk about the Jets and the Raiders. This is back and forth we go, and Oakland's just taking the lead after picking off.
Taking the lead, yeah. Rich Gannon hits tight end Roland Williams for the touchdown after Testaverde threw the interception. Run the ball, you got the lead. Give the ball to Martin and run it.
All right, 16-14. They've just reached the half. Meanwhile, Darrell Jackson has scored twice. Two from Dilfer, who's over 200 yards in the half.
And this is Trent Dilfer throwing his second touchdown. And I ask you, everybody sitting up here, if you're the head coach of the Seahawks, why don't you play Trent Dilfer all the time?
Hey, he's in, isn't he? He's playing today, isn't he?
Well,
hey,
quit fooling around.
A Rams win would give them the 1 seed in the NFC, home field throughout the playoffs. Earlier today, the Patriots won the AFC East.
And this is Troy Brown. He does it all the way for a touchdown.
And the Patriots again win the division.
It feels great to win the division again. Being back on top again, it feels great. You know, we hoping the Jets go out there and beat Oakland today and get us a bye.
Watch it play. Oh.
Tommy Maddox, backup quarterback, hits Bobby Shaw for a touchdown. But after the game, in the locker room, Joey Porter tells his team about what they have to do.
We got a 3-game season. And I know we're going to ride out and handle this business. All right. All right.
And the Bears won the Central and the NFC.
Watch this play, Jim. Big Keith Trainer. Watch him. Up in the air, tips it, catches it.
What's he going to do?
And raps about it.
And he tipped the ball, and when it tipped it, I just followed the ball, and it landed. And I'm like, oh, I got it. What should I do now?
The Packers won the right to host a wild card game.
They really did. Brett Favre started early, and he finished strong, but here he gets it out to Coy Bradford for a touchdown early in the game. And watch this play right here. He rolls out to his right, and right there is Michael Strahan, and that is the sack record.
On.
And I don't know.
That's suspicious.
I don't know.
I smell set up. Stray has his record. And how about the 49ers' third shutout?
Jeff Garcia, 4 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Terrell Owens over a team that played a speed bump today, the New Orleans Saints. Those 3 shutouts, a 49er team record.
The Broncos with their coach, some say going to Florida. They failed to get a winning season. Harrison into the end zone twice. Rhodes, the undrafted rookie, over 1,000.
And this is Rackers, Cincinnati. Field goal with 20 seconds. points, but the quarterback, John Kitna, over 340 yards.
You gotta love Kitna. Meanwhile, the Redskins close 8-8 after an 0-5 start. Davis, that's the winning touchdown. He sets the Skins single-season rushing mark, and Emmett goes over 1,000 for an NFL record, 11th straight year. He was tied with Barry Sanders for 10 straight years before today. The Lions, however, win the final game, played at the Pontiac Silverdome. Detmer's touchdown pass won it inside of 6 minutes to go. Here's what we know at this hour as far as the playoffs. The NFC is pretty well set. If St. Louis goes on and wins this game against Atlanta, which they should, they'll have a 1 throughout. Next week, it'll be Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and San Francisco at Green Bay in the wild card round. AFC, you'll see here, it is wide open. Pittsburgh is the 1. If Oakland beats the Jets, they'll be the 2. They'll have a first-round bye. However, if they stumble to New York, then New England moves in to the 2nd position. The wild card picture, again, is wide open. We're going to send you back to the second half in Miami in just a moment. Thanks for being with us on the Nextel Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
At the half, the Miami Dolphins lead 13-0. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Dolphins in command, 13-0 at the half. The Bills losing their starting quarterback, Alex Van Pelt, to a shoulder injury early in the game. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Interesting aspect of this Miami Dolphin team is they appear headed toward a second straight 11-5 season under Dave Wannstedt. He had a losing record in 6 years as coach of the Bears. Now he's a big winner. He said one of the reasons he communicates with the players more. It's more of a democracy.
Yeah, he learned a lot from his time in Chicago, and he's got a group of 10 or 12 players that he brings in. He calls them a senior council, and they're veteran players who are character guys who come in and do the right thing, real professionals, and the players really respond to that. They feel like they've got a say in what happens. If there's a better way to do it, Dave Wannstedt has proven himself open to listening, and I think the players really have responded in a big way to that.
This is the biggest rivalry for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Miami Dolphin Week is always a huge, well, at one point, the Dolphins beat the Bills 20 straight times in the 70s. The Bills were 0 for the 70s. Yeah, I think that's where it all started.
There's a lot of scar tissue in Buffalo over this rivalry. There's no question about it.
But right now, the Dolphins have laid a little more hurt on the Bills as they have dominated statistically. The Bills ineffective on offense and 154 yards up for the Dolphins.
And that is total domination by the Dolphins, and they have really played well today in a game that didn't mean as much as some thought it was, and this is a testament to their defense. Just look, the longest 6 plays is the most they got in one drive. The rest have been 3 and outs with one. I think this 4-play drive actually was with a penalty that helped them get a first down, but the Dolphins have absolutely dominated this game with their defense.
They really were ready to stop the Bills' running game, and now the passing game has pretty much been taken away because there's no experience at quarterback. Here's the return by Brock Marion, who had a huge play last week in the win over Atlanta. The game was 7-0 Falcons in the first quarter when Marion ignited the Dolphins with an interception return for a touchdown. Jay Fiedler, mistake-free today, no turnovers.
I think you can expect to see a lot more of what you saw at the end of the first half. The Dolphins are going to make the Bills prove that they can stop the run and stop Lamar Smith. And then maybe Jay Fiedler will get a chance to throw it if they can prove that they can do that. They have not done that yet today.
Just informed by producer Jim Rickoff that Chris Chambers, perfect young wide receiver, he'll not play for the rest of the day. He started with a sore ankle, and apparently the injury was worsened, so he had a good first half, but they'll hold him out the rest of the game, and they go right back to the hammer offense. Lamar Smith, a 225-pound back in his 7th year out of Houston, goes right at the Bills defense and gets about 3 yards.
One thing that the Buffalo Bills have done better in the second half of the season, particularly in the last month, is they've made better adjustments defensively. They did that well against the Jets a week ago, and they've done it well in the last month. We'll see if they've got enough adjustments that can make them physically better against this dominating offensive line of the Dolphins.
Jerry Gray, the D coordinator, was a tremendous player with the Rams. Bills need to force a turnover. They've got to make something happen with their defense. And now some Bills leave early. We'll see if they were drawn offside. At Williams, and that gets rolling. It's like moving a glacier downhill.
Encroachment. Defense number 93.
At Williams.
5-yard penalty remains. No.
Yeah, once you get it started, it's hard to back up. You'll see. You'll see right there.
He is a big guy.
Yeah, tough to miss that. And there's really no excuse for it either. He's standing right over the football. You don't go until it's snapped. But if you want to make a big play, you always have to jump the snap. You ask those guys, even if they're not offside, they're always trying to anticipate.
Interesting play call now for Fiedler, 2nd and 1. Might be throwing. Yep, they go back to the run. Bills knock it back. Linesman comes in. He didn't get there. Be 3rd and 1.
When you talk about this Buffalo Bills team, they have in the last 15 years spent a lot of time in the playoffs. Not going to happen this year. But you see there Marv Levy, of course, the great success he had in the late 80s and through the 90s. Wade Phillips was also pretty successful. Went to the playoffs 2 of his 3 years in Buffalo. And Greg Williams now starting to rebuild, tearing the team apart, only try and put the foundation for a future success on a team that's built in his image.
Wade Phillips refused to fire his special teams coach, Ronnie Jones, after they had horrendous special teams one season. Ralph Wilson, the owner, said, I didn't ask him to fire the coaching staff. I asked him to fire one coach who I thought was incompetent. Refused to do it, and he left. He was out, and Greg Williams came in after 11 years with the Oilers/Titans organization.
Yeah, he started out as a quality control coach, then was a special teams coach, and then was the defensive coordinator. And he'll tell you, because I became a better coordinator when I got guys like Javon Curse and Blaine Bishop and you know, a bunch of other good players, and all of a sudden I was a pretty good coach.
And now we go to 3rd and 1. Fiedler. Ray Lucas comes in the game, and he puts his head down and looks like he's got enough for the 1st down.
And that's why Ray Lucas is in the game. I mean, he has a knack for being a good quarterback sneak. He's a physical runner, and he's just a bigger guy.
Monday, CBS is the place for an all-new night of great television, starting with The King of Queens, followed by Yes Dear, and Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. Then don't miss Ted Danson in Becker, followed by an all-new Family Law. That's all Monday on CBS.
You can't get more conservative than the Dolphins have been on this drive so far.
Now they're looking to run clock, run the ball with a 13-0 lead, and now Fiedler looks for a timing pattern, and they hit him as he throws. It's picked up, and that'll go. There's a penalty marker down, however. Where the ball was picked up, it could go against the Bills. As it's run in by Pearson Prelu. But was there a pass interference call?
He was trying to get the ball to Dedrick Ward, and I think 2 guys were hanging all over Dedrick Ward.
We talked about the Bills, Steve, needing a big play from their defense, and they got one, but it might be coming back. Are they going to pick the flag up, though? Nobody seems too certain. Tony Corretti, the referee. Coach Williams selling hard on his sideline.
Yeah, see, now you see there, he thinks the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if I buy that.
Holding on the defense. Play negated. Well, if you thought it was tipped, you can call for a replay.
I don't think that. I think they're calling holding probably before the ball was thrown.
Holding, defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Antoine Winfield called for the penalty. And there were 3 Buffalo Bills around Dedrick Ward when Fiedler let that go. And Fiedler took a nice shot as he released the football. He waited and waited and waited. This is Fiedler getting rid of the ball. Watch as he releases it. We'll see if it was tipped. No, that ball wasn't tipped. As you can see there.
Where was the holding?
I think it was before the throw.
So the interception return for a touchdown is negated, and now the Dolphins have a 1st down, and they go back to their hard-driving runner, Lamar Smith, who takes it right at Jay Foreman. Foreman's dad, of course, was the great Chuck Foreman, an All-American for the Miami Hurricanes. And at one time, some people thought the best player in the National Football League, Chuck Foreman, when he played for the Vikings.
Now, this is a moment ago. This is the hold right there. This is Antoine Winfield. You see there.
You kidding?
I don't think. I don't see that. I don't see that. And it looked like when the receiver spun out of the route, the official thought Antoine Winfield grabbed him and spun him, but he didn't.
That brings up 2nd down and 6. And up and running hard is Lamar Smith. Now their knockers will come. Yeah, they're going to start going the other way now. The call is against the Dolphins.
And it's going to be on Todd Perry against Phil Hansen. Very late flag.
Holding, Offense, number 75.
Play was over and
10-yard
fired.
penalty. Repeat, second down.
Corretti, the referee, threw the flag.
Yeah. It was behind the play, and the official, probably felt like Phil Hansen was going to have a play on it, and because of the hold, Todd Perry got an unfair advantage. Let's face it, you can call holding on any play you want. And it's only when they feel it affects the play that they're going to throw it.
That'll bring up second down and 16 for Fiedler and the Dolphins. Blitz coming. Fiedler has his running ability. And Fiedler working hard, and he is slammed down hard again. A loss on the play. And that'll bring up third and long yardage. Tyrone Robertson got him.
You watch as Fiedler comes back. This is on the outside. That's Bryce Fisher coming back, pushing Spencer Falau back into Fiedler's lap. And the one thing about the Bills defense, they may not be as physical as you'd like up front, but they do have speed to chase people down. And Jay Fiedler's finding that out. And the one or two times he's tried to run, the Bills have run him down in short order.
Fiedler looking to throw now on third down and 15. Standing in, and they get Fiedler all the way back. The Bills defense ignited by what they thought was a touchdown they were robbed of. Kendrick Office, a rookie out of West Alabama State.
And Kendrick Office cut by the Bills and brought back on the practice roster and signed, and has been playing well. You see they're coming right through inside Todd Wade. And Jay Fiedler took a little bit of a beating on that series defensively.
Shots, Jay has.
And that coaching staff of the Bills has come through again defensively. I mean, they've made some adjustments, seems to have helped.
Matt Turk punts the ball. He's been really hitting at a tremendously high punt. Fearless Price fields it at the 26. And the special teams coverage is magnificent as Price loses about 12 yards. Maybe more. Tommy Hendricks runs him down. 46-yard punt and a loss of 11. We're back at Pro Player Stadium, South Florida. The Bills, a horrendous day. 13 total yards, the Buffalo record for ineptitude on offense. 1971 when they had 49 yards offense in a single game. Here's a throw, a nice catch by Moles, a good throw delivered by the backup Travis Brown. For the best NFL coverage on the net, including expert analysis and live scoreboards, go to cbs.sportsline.com or America Online keyword CBS Sportsline.
And they're not going to let Travis Brown drop back and wait for routes to develop. They want to get one out of his hand right away. Try and get some completions to give him some confidence to drop back and throw the ball.
That was good for 11 yards. He's now 2 of 7 throwing for a total passing yardage of 9 yards. First completion was for -2. Again, the Bills failed to run. Sean Bryson, who's been unstoppable in the recent games, pounding away. Today, the Dolphins have shut him down. Raiders and the Jets going back and forth, and now the Raiders have taken back the lead, 19-14. 44-yard field goal by Brad Delwiso for the Raiders.
Well, it's all going to be ironed out after tomorrow night. One final game of the season.
Last game. I mean,
it's the last game, and it goes right down to it. I think it's a boost to the whole league when everybody's got a shot this late.
Great. Every game means a lot. Here's Brown throwing, beautifully thrown to Moles, and now Moles turns it upfield, and all of a sudden Travis Brown is starting to find the range. 14-yard gain on that play with 8:20 to play in the third quarter.
And that was a great tackle by Brian Walker and out in the open field on Eric Moles. If he doesn't make that tackle, that is a huge play.
Well, in the last meeting, November 25th at Ralph Wilson Stadium, Eric Moles had 196 yards receiving against the Dolphins. He had an 80-yard touchdown run on a play like that. It was mostly run after catch, and a 54-yard touchdown reception. Now back the other way, and Sean Bryson heads downhill and bangs it out to the 45-yard line, stopped by Moreland Greenwood, a rookie linebacker from Syracuse who stepped in and really played terrific football. They're all raving about Moreland.
Yeah, he was a guy that's born in Kingston, Jamaica, and lived there until he was 11 years old. And the funniest thing I read this week was that he had played a game or two, and then his coach said, what are they going to do on 1st and 10? And he didn't know what 1st and 10 was.
He knows where the ball is, though. He's hard to block. It's very, very hard to block.
He's got a high energy and a high motor. He's helped these guys a lot.
2nd and 6. Penalty marker goes. Bills run it and take it out to the 48-yard line. Bills a short time ago denied a touchdown on an interception return by Prelu on a holding call. Brought it back.
Offside. Defense number 79 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
You want to see what a tackling machine looks like. That's what a tackling machine looks like from civilian clothes. That's Zach Thomas, 180 tackles this season.
The guy's a refrigerator with a helmet.
He is really a fantastic player. 5th-round draft choice. What a player he's been. Back to the Pro Bowl again this year for him. Long ball downfield. What a catch by Riemersma. Down to the 15-yard line, and all of a sudden they're starting to know who Travis Brown is. A 34-yard play to Riemersma.
I'll tell you what, that was an excellent throw by Travis Brown right down the seam. He gave the route a chance. Right here, watch Riemersma as he releases outside the hash mark. Little stick move, and Brown's got to put this over the top of Greenwood, and he does it right into the hands. An excellent catch. Watch as Riemersma has to go out and pull it in, actually one-handed. That's as big a play as the Bills have had yet.
Now the Bills challenging for the first time. Bryson takes a look. Turns it wide, gets a block, and Bryson hits down to the 11-yard line. He gains about 5 yards on the play before Brian Walker, the strong safety, makes another tackle.
You know, I've always thought you get down here at a point like this, you know, you get down there on a big play, maybe give yourself, if you've got a play, especially after you've scorched a defense with a big play, throw a trick play at them, because they're going to be overcommitted. They're going to be mad. They're going to be angry they gave up the big play. They're going to try and jump right at you and maybe overcommit, and maybe you can catch them.
This is 2nd and 6 with the ball spotted. Travis Brown 3 for 3 passing in this drive for 59 yards. Standing in. There's a throw. Touchdown Buffalo. Over the middle he goes and hits Larry Centers. Larry Centers' 78th catch of the year. Results in the 4th touchdown reception by Centers. This Pro Bowler delivers the goods, and Dave Wanstead knows it's a long way from over.
And that's right, and that's the reason he's going to the Pro Bowl. He catches the football better than any running back in the history of the league. He's got more catches. Watch right here. Pulls it right in. There was no question he was the #1 guy on that route.
And on that drive, Steve, Travis Brown looked like Jim Kelly.
He looked good.
Couldn't play better than that. Extra point is hit up and good by Shane Graham. So the Bills, seemingly long gone, are right back in the game with a long way to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today. And by Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Don Quickie with Steve Tasker back at Pro Player Stadium, where all of a sudden Travis Brown, a little-known street free agent quarterback, looked like a Hall of Famer on that drive as he hit 4 of 4 for 71 yards, the last for 12 yards and a touchdown. Now, Brock Marion looks to run it back, looks for a gap and finds one. A penalty marker comes in. Even though the Bills seemingly were out of this game, if that holding penalty looked like a phantom holding penalty that negated the interception, they'd have the lead now, believe it or not. See what the Dolphins go to
During
now.
the return of the kick, holding, receiving team number 41, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And for the first time in the game with that penalty, the Bills have got the momentum. We'll see if the Dolphins can answer.
Night falling in South Florida. Game is tightening up after the Bills' long drive on a superior passing of the untried Travis Brown at quarterback. Hitting 4 for 4 for 71 yards and a touchdown in that drive. Now can Jay Fiedler answer? He goes to his hammer, the runner. Lamar Smith bangs away again at the Bills defense, gets about 3. The Raiders and the Jets scoreboard changing, and here's Jim Nantz to update us.
It's a playoff atmosphere at Oakland, Don, and back and forth we go. The Jets take the lead. Rookie Lamont Jordan, 46 yards to put the Raiders in front. And this update from Jay Glazer, our NFL insider, reporting that George Seifert will be fired tomorrow as the Carolina Panthers head coach. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Thank you, Jim. And a lot of speculation, Jim, down here that Steve Spurrier could be going to Carolina. He likes the state. He, of course, was the head coach at Duke University. The measure of him as a coach might have been established there. He won with Duke football, which has struggled in the recent years.
See there's today's game in New England beating Carolina convincingly. And really, that's the death knell for George Seifert. And the Jets and Oakland are in a seesaw battle, and that should be a playoff atmosphere, as Jim Nantz said. Jets win, they're in, and Oakland's got all kinds of baggage they'd love to pick up if they can win that game.
Jay Glazer of the NFL Today was also the guy who was out early saying that Darrell Russell, the Raiders defensive tackle, would be suspended for a year. His appeals ran out, as reported on the NFL Today. And he is out for a year. He can't play again, I think, till January 2nd next year. Here's a ball on the field, incomplete. Throw to Dedrick Ward. And while we have him up, we're going to go back to Jim Nantz in New York. Jim?
All right, Seattle and Kansas City. It was 14-0, but the Chiefs blocked a punt, and Trent Green found Michael Ricks to put Kansas City on the board. It's 14-7 Seahawks. 10 minutes to play, third quarter. Back to Don and Steve.
I'll tell you what, Don, a team that you don't want to play to have to get into the playoffs is Kansas City right now. They are really playing well.
Stick for meal so this week, Steve. We're the best losing team in football. Here's the punt hit downfield by Matt Turk. And that ball touched by a Bill. Let's see what this ruling is.
No signal. Looks like they're going to give it to the Dolphins. No.
It's the Bills' ball.
Yeah, he gave it to the Bills.
Terrific play, though, by the Dolphins. That was Terry Cousin, number 21. That was close. Now, you were a kick returner, among other things, in your 7 Pro Bowl season, Steve. And a lot of people don't realize in the NFL, you don't get the halo.
No, you can bet right there.
They can come right up on you.
Yeah, Arturo Freeman. Yeah, exactly. That's Arturo. No, I'm sorry. That's Terry Cousin right there. And you can bet Terry Cousin is not just down there silent. He's yelling and screaming. And that may have touched him. We'll have to see if they review that. It could go the Dolphins' way.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement. And by Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh.
Back to Pro Player Stadium, where there's a review underway to see if the punt did indeed touch a Bill. The ruling on the field was it was Bill's ball, so there has to be indisputable evidence on the replay to get it overturned. Now the ball hops between the legs of Avion Black.
Now, that's obviously the question. If that ball touches him, and if the official on the replay, in viewing the replays, thinks that touches him, this is Miami's ball. And you'll watch here, he decides he can't field the punt because Cousin is right there. Now, does that ball touch his leg right there? It looks like it just does.
Is it indisputable evidence?
Does it get by without nicking his leg? And I'll tell you what, the reason I hesitate to say that it did was, watch, he knows that if he touches that football, it's a live ball. And he makes absolutely no move to do it. Believe me, if that returner touches that football, he is running for his life after it.
And guys who wear number 89 for the Bills rarely make a bonehead play, right?
It's happened once or twice.
They didn't retire your number, they washed it.
That's exactly right, and well, they should have.
Now here's Tony Cormetti checking it out. I think that's a very interesting observation that you made, among others.
Because at that point,
he didn't run after it.
The players react on instinct. If he thought it hit his leg, he would have been after that like his life depended on it. That's Avion Black, who had to decide at the last moment because of really good coverage by the Dolphins. Terry Cousin right down in his face. Good play by Terry Cousin.
Well, the trajectory doesn't look like the...
See, you can see there, Avion Black makes no move to recover that ball.
Yeah, that's well, we'll see. Tony Corretti makes the final call.
And believe me, Don, instincts are a strong thing to overcome, and Avion Black, his instincts didn't kick in on that play, and that's the reason I think it probably didn't touch him. But if the officials liked that replay and it goes in the way of the Dolphins, it doesn't matter what Avion Black did.
Miami was challenging the ruling on the field that the ball had not touched a kicking team player. After reviewing the film, there's no definitive proof that the ball team player. Therefore, the ruling on the field will be first down, Buffalo. Miami will be charged with a timeout.
So the call is not overturned and ruled it did not touch Avion Black. So the Bills maintain the ball and the Dolphins go on defense.
Yeah, the Bills, whether they got away with one or not, it all depends on how they can capitalize on this. They dodged the bullet. If that goes to the Dolphins, they get it on the 17-yard line. But Travis Brown once again with bad field position.
Last week, the Dolphins beat Atlanta with 2 goal line stands. Dan Reeves, the coach of the Falcons, said that he thought on a 3rd down his player was clearly in for a touchdown. He didn't sleep all week because of it, but
he's right, he was in.
Here's a throw and a catch to Remersma, but for no yards, as a play fake and then a rollout pass by Travis Brown. And Brian Walker's right there on the tight end. We asked Remersma yesterday, how do you get open? He said, by making him think you're going away, you're not going.
That's right. You talked about last week. This is the goal line stand by the Dolphin defense. And this is when the good teams come through. When the game's on the line, the Falcons had no chance. And this is also, you can see there, Zach Thomas hurt his shoulder on that play and is not playing today because of it.
That was the 2nd goal line stand. Here's a pitch back now. Sammy Morris running hard, and Morris puts his head down and drives on 2nd down and just over 10 for 10 yards. He's going to be just short of a first down. And Sammy, congratulations are certainly in order for Sammy and his wife Leslie on the birth of their little daughter Jaden, who was born yesterday. Sammy came in and arrived in South Florida at 12:30.
Yeah, he took a later commercial flight. The club let him come in later so he could be there at the birth of his daughter. It's been a good weekend for the Bills organization. Also, Vice President Russ Brandon had a little baby boy, Jack. Our best wishes to all their families.
Particularly to his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
3rd and short. I set, double tights. Play fake. And there is a hammer hit. An unimpeded blitzer, Arturo Freeman. That's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, they're finally signaling it. Tony Corretti was late on that call. He wanted to come up and see, but he ruled that arm was coming forward. A great rush by Arturo Freeman. When that ball comes forward like that, the official always gives the benefit of the doubt. We'll see. I don't think Dave Wanstead's going to.
Now, you don't want to risk losing another timeout.
Yeah, you need the timeout. This game. Let him punt it back. You're getting the ball anyway. Let that one slide.
Ogden's back. You remember his 48-yard punt return earlier today. Tremendous punt by Moorman. A high punt hit down to the 24-yard line. But here comes Ogden looking for a gap, and he gets out to the 37-yard line. 50-yard punt by Moorman and a 13-yard return by Ogden. .151 to go, 3rd quarter. Dolphins with the ball. Tim Ruddy, the Dolphins standout center, told me at practice yesterday, one reason that Fiedler is so effective, he said he's been in different offenses as a pro, and he knows everything about every one of them. And he's always confident making a big play. This time they get him down on 1st down as he runs and does get to the line of scrimmage. Bryce Fisher runs him down from the Air Force Academy, 95. Thursday on Survivor. This is it, the final episode. Find out who will be voted the ultimate survivor in the dramatic 2-hour finale. Then stay tuned for a live reunion featuring all 16 survivors. It all begins at 8/7 Central Thursday here on CBS.
Here in the NFL, they're voting the last few teams off the island this weekend.
That is it. 2nd down and 9. Fiedler rolling out. Here comes the rush again, and Fiedler is hit hard. There's an open receiver. Dolphins in, and it's broken up at the last moment. James McKnight had 10 yards on the defense, and then tremendous recovery speed, and the Bills get back and defend it. Nate Clemens,
and here from the inside, this is Pearson Prelo, just wasn't looking, just stuck his hand out where the receiver's hands were and got lucky. Watch the shot Jay Fiedler takes right there from Keith Newman.
How did he ever get that away?
There's a little added, and that ball came out clean as well. It didn't wobble at all. He got everything he wanted on it.
3rd down and 9 as Fiedler sets in the shotgun. Bills aligning blitzers. Here they come. Fiedler standing in. He's got a track to run. And Fiedler slides to a halt.
And there it is.
Penalty marker thrown. It'll be a 1st down for the Dolphins.
And there's the late hit that actually I thought the Bills got away with in the first half.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 31.
The reason
15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
Lance Brown on the hit. The reason this one was called and the one in the first half wasn't is this one is late. Fiedler was down and sliding on the ground. He hadn't touched the ground in the first half. There he's down. And this is the earlier one that was not called. And this is there. You watch. He's not quite down, and that one is hit. That's the difference.
So the Dolphins drive on the penalty call, and here is Lamar Smith breaking it. And he could take it. Now he's going to go down inside the 30. Jay Foreman gets him from behind as Lamar Smith, who absolutely tore up the Colts in that playoff game a year ago, then had nothing left till next week at Oakland when the Dolphins were blown out in round 2, running like he did against the Colts today. He's played tremendous football. He's now up to 109 yards on 21 carries.
Yes, they gave him the ball 42 times last year. It's hard to bounce back from.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. 13-7, Dolphins lead. Now a word from your local station. Sayonara. 13-7 as we start the 4th quarter. The Dolphins on offense. Their drive seemingly stopped. Then a personal foul call against the Bills for a late hit on the quarterback. As the Dolphins 15 yards keeps it going, and now can they take it in? Greg Williams' defense has given up a lot of running yards today. The Dolphins have rushed for 123 yards. Virtually all of it by Lamar Smith. Who gets the ball again, and again he cracks the plane, and Lamar Smith, an overmatch. The Dolphins offensive line blowing open the Bills defense. A 15-yard run. Tonight on the CBS Sunday Movie, when it comes to being a master. Now the Dolphins line up. You recall earlier when they were stopped. Had to kick field goals down close. And now Lamar Smith takes some hits, and he's dropped for a loss on the play.
That last graphic you saw there, the Dolphins running twice as many times as they have thrown, and that is a luxury a lot of head coaches would love to have.
Brandon Spoon, the rookie linebacker, gets up limping. A rookie from North Carolina forced to step in when the Bills' best defensive player, Sam Cowart, hurt his Achilles tendon in the first game.
I spoke to defensive coordinator Jerry Gray about Brandon Spoon just before the game, and he said the guy never makes any mental mistakes. You turn the film on, and he's always exactly where he is supposed to be. That says a lot about a rookie.
Now they go to a dime package, extra defensive backs. On 2nd down and almost 12. Quick out. James McKnight, he'll go in. Touchdown Dolphins. One-on-one overmatch. McKnight beats him with speed. 55th catch, his 3rd touchdown.
It's one-on-one with Nate Clemens on the outside, and that's the curse of one-on-one defense. If you miss a tackle, it's a touchdown.
Extra point by Alinda Mare is up and good, and the Dolphins are back in command at 20-7. So a good drive. The penalty kept it going, and Fiedler and the Dolphins capitalized. They'll kick off when we come back. The Dolphins Open a 20-7 lead in the third quarter this year. For the whole season, the Dolphins have scored only 27 points. But they scored 128 points in the fourth quarter, including 7 a moment ago. Touchdown pass, fielder to McKnight. Now the kickoff by Murray is boomed downfield. And here comes Avion Black at full speed. 20 and to the 21-yard line. Tommy Hendricks was on the tackle for the Dolphins.
And there you see, Don, a team becomes a reflection of their head coach, and this is a really solid, well put together team. Dave Wannstedt, he couldn't be more down to earth if he was a mud puddle, and his players really like him. They play hard for him, and they finish games strong, as you can see there by that graphic.
You've got all those Kansas metaphors. Only when somebody's more grounded than a carrot. Here we go at first down and 10. Travis Brown throws the ball, and the Dolphin defenders reject it. Send it right back. Big Ernest Grant slaps it back. Following the game and throughout the week, log on to NFL.com and get the latest playoff schedule and analysis from the experts. It's all at NFL.com.
91. Jumping into neutral zone, in the zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
We have a man in the neutral zone. That was Lorenzo Bromell.
If there's one thing we asked Dave Wannstedt, what can your team do to get better right before the playoffs? There's two things. Don't take dumb penalties and don't turn the ball over. That was a dumb penalty.
It's like your former coach Marv Levy. Don't be dumb, don't be dirty. That was one of his axioms. First and 5. Handoff. Good hard run in the corner turn by Sean Bryson as he gets upfield, and Brian Walker, a real linebacker hitter at safety, makes another tackle. Here's how it looked today in the key games. The Patriots blowing out the Panthers at Carolina, and then let's see, that would get the NFC picture. Who's going to go in there? That's even more complicated, I think, right now.
Yeah, but if it's very simple right here. If the Jets win, they are in.
Jets, yeah, the Jets are in if they win, and Seattle
must win and hope for a Baltimore loss.
Yeah, Baltimore can get in the playoffs with a win tomorrow night against the Vikings. Here's a throw over the middle, nicely done for a first down. Ball's advanced out to the 43-yard line as the quarterback Travis Brown engineers a throw to Larry Centers. Right down to the final game this season, the playoff picture before it's in focus. Hendricks makes the stop.
There's so many interesting stories around the league, Don Young. You look out as you see Travis Brown here. Now they've got the third-string quarterback for the Bills in Seattle. Their backup, who, by the way, is 20-0, Trent Dilfer, trying to keep
20-0,
trying to keep the Baltimore Ravens, the team he won the last Super Bowl with, out of the playoffs.
Pitch back, Bryson. Safeties come up again. That's Brock Marion running it out of bounds. That's how they're doing it. They're doing it with safety support.
You can't gain yards running from sideline to sideline. They don't count sideways. And there's Rob Johnson and Alex Van Pelt. Rob Johnson has been quite a story in Buffalo. His feud with Doug Flutie, the controversy that called for was, well publicized. And you wonder how his relationship is with Alex Van Pelt, who is now talking about a 5-year contract extension with the Bills. And Alex said, Rob told him, I wish I was going to be there when you signed it so we could celebrate together.
Yeah, they're very good friends. He said, nobody could be more supportive to me than Rob Johnson. Ball on the field with his knee down. The Bills have it. Jason Taylor coming off the edge. I talked to Dave Wannstedt and I asked, what overmatches do you see? He said, I see an overmatch our defensive line against their offensive line.
Well, that's been the case.
He said, I'm worried, though, about our wide receivers because we're starting 2 backups against their cornerbacks.
Right there, you see Jason Taylor give the hard inside move. Marcus Sullivan is getting some time in there for John Fina, and that's some time Travis Brown wishes he didn't get.
Now the Dolphin pass rushers will dig in and come flying at young Travis Brown on 3rd down and long. Blitzers aligning. Another big rush. Down the middle, the ball is thrown and is intercepted. It may be. Officials coming in. Let's see what they signal. Still no call. Looked like it might have been intercepted. And a Bill, big Reuben Brown had a piece of the ball.
Like Scott Gallion made the play.
Bill's ball, they'll punt. Now they're going to give it to Miami.
Scott Gallion came up with that play. Caught the ball right off the top of the grass, and he sold the catch as soon as it happened. Right here, watch him. He'll drop back into coverage. Right there with Larry Centers. Looks like a good catch.
Looks good all the way. Dolphins have it when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City. We're with you.
Scott Gallion, a big play for the Dolphins as the outside backer comes up with his first career interception. And now Jay Fiedler and the Dolphin offense in command, 20-7, have the ball 1st and 10.
You know, you talk about Scott Gallion and the NFL Today on CBS. They did a story on supplements and vitamins. Scott Gallion is one of those guys.
Challenging the ruling on the previous play of a catch and interception.
There's a coach's challenge here.
Once again, you've got to go back to the premise of the challenge.
He made a nice play, and here's the replay. As Travis Brown lets this go, the ball comes out. I don't think you can tell from that angle. I couldn't take it away. This is him right here. I don't see the ball hit from that angle. I think there's not going to be enough evidence from those two shots. We'll see if this one is. Makes a great play on the ball. You see there the official's looking right at it.
Well, he turned around. He didn't see that when it came in. The umpire's back was turned.
Yeah.
How did the ball touch the ground? And once again, on the field, it was ruled an interception. So the replays have to show indisputable evidence that it was not an interception.
I think it was an interception. I think it was a good play.
I don't think there's evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, exactly. I think they got it right the first time. 33% of that, 1/3 of the plays they reviewed, Don, are overturned. And I don't keep statistics on how many don't have conclusive evidence, but I do know that 1/3 of the calls that are reviewed are overturned. This one's not going to be.
Alex Van Pelt, the starting quarterback for the Bills, went out with late in the first quarter. At the time, Miami led 3-0. He's not played since. The Dolphin defense, Steve, an interesting story. This year on the road, they're giving up 25 points a game of the Dolphins. At home, they give up only 12 points a game. I asked Dave Wanstead yesterday, why do you think that is? He said, well, defense is emotion. And he said, our defense is more emotional here. It feeds off the home crowd. These big sellouts in 75,000 seat stadium.
You talk about the Dolphins getting primed for the playoffs. You saw it after that last touchdown. This crowd was way into it. They realize, I think, that they're going to have a home game next week. That it's a playoff game, and they're going to get to see it here, and they're excited about it. You could see it after that last score as you watch this replay one more time, and I don't think there's any way you can overturn that interception.
No, there's not indisputable evidence. So with 10:39 left to play, referee Tony Correnti checking the various replays and now ready to make his pronouncement. Here comes the judge.
After reviewing the play, there is no visual material evidence to overturn the ruling on the field. The play stands as called. Interception, Miami. First down.
Buffalo loses a timeout. One last time here. Does the ball hit the ground?
Well, it hits the ground, but were his hands under it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's a moot point now.
Moot point.
Next case.
Non-call, I think, is the right call.
Bills have turned the ball over twice today. Miami, no turnovers.
Yeah, 10-0 when they force at least one. That's a big statistic.
Here's a reverse. Diedrich Ward, one of the fastest Dolphins, is on the run. He breaks it, loses the ball, and it goes out of bounds. So it's a major game for the Dolphins. Prelo, who's been the Bills' best defensive player today, stripped the ball from him.
Yeah, you want to talk about a guy who's making a case to be brought back next year and made a starter. Prelo is it. This is the end around. They developed this extremely well. Ward comes around. There's nobody there. The pursuit finally gets there. And watch here. This is Prelo right there, getting the ball out. A good hit put on by Winfield as he came all the way across the field to make that play.
Rushing yard. What a dominance for the Dolphins after the Bills had run so well. The Bills had almost 400 yards rushing over the last 2 games, but today they've been had the door slammed on them as Lamar Smith continues his workmanlike running into the Bills defense. Lamar Smith now with 24 carries for over 120 yards. Keith Newman was on the stop along with Deshaun Polk.
And you can bet they'll just keep feeding Lamar Smith the football. You know, I got to think as well, Miami leading 13 points. You got to think deep into the 4th quarter, they're going to start pulling in the sails a little bit. They've got to get ready in a week to play the most important game of the season.
They will be at home with a victory here in a first-round playoff game. Fiedler, nice rollout and good catch as the ball is taken in by Jed Weaver, his best of the 3 tight ends at catching the ball. Newman's with him, but it's a first down for the Dolphins. Nate Clemens and Keith Newman making the tackle.
That's an excellent play call. Just timed perfectly, right at the proper point of the game. It's a safe throw. You've got a quarterback that can run and get back to the line of scrimmage if it's not there, but you haven't shown it all day, and it's the perfect time to call it as a big first down close.
Ball now positioned inside the 15-yard line. Dolphins with a 1-back set. Double tights, 2 wide receivers. All-out blitz coming from the Bills. And Fiedler does well to protect the ball as he goes down back at the 18-yard line. A loss on the play of about 7 yards. Brandon Spoon right back in there, that mistake-free rookie you were talking about, Steve.
He did exactly the right thing. Timed the blitz perfectly. The offensive lineman didn't have time to make a call. You see right there, and you see there, Lamar Smith doesn't know if he wants that football or not. He just says, he's probably yelling to Jay Fiedler, keep it, don't give it to me. He sees he's running right into the face of Brandon Spoon, wants no part of it.
Clock running. You see 8:25 to play in the game. Dolphins at this point well in command. Another blitz coming from the Bills. Fiedler lofts it up and high. And now we go back to Jim Nantz in New York. Jim?
All right, Don and Steve, up in Seattle, the Seahawks had a scare in the first half. Sean Alexander had an ankle x-rayed. It was negative. He returns here in the 3rd quarter, races 44 yards for the touchdown. They're starting the 4th quarter with Seattle up 21-10. And let's go back now to Don and Steve.
Thanks, Jim. Well, that's a quick recovery.
Yeah. Well, Seattle's doing their part. I mean, they've got to win to have a chance to be in.
Now let's see what Fiedler and the Dolphins go to on offense. Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator of the Dolphins, will be leaving after the playoffs to go and take over as head coach at Georgia Tech. Fiedler on the run, open track to the end zone. He'll go in. Touchdown Miami. There's his athleticism, and there is the ball game. 19 yards.
Well, they can feel it here in Miami as you're watching a bull play-action pass. Jay Fiedler comes back, and the Bills get good pressure. They tried to develop a screen pass, and Jay Fiedler just uses his ability. Watch right here as he makes Antoine Winfield miss, and that's a decathlon. A decathlete right there getting into the end zone.
The extra point is up and good. And so the Dolphins have now taken command 27-7 as Fiedler deftly works himself into the end zone. The Dolphins ready to kick off as Jay Fiedler has now rushed for more yards this year than any Dolphin quarterback in history. He had 321 yards rushing. His last run, a 19-yard beauty for a touchdown. And now the kickoff is bounced downfield. On the hop, Avion Black waits for his wedge to form and follows it into traffic and gets to the 27-yard line.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
No, Jim, we're not kidding you. The NFL playoffs begin right here on CBS next Sunday at 3:30 Eastern. Everyone, of course, will be gunning for the Ravens' throne, and there's no better feeling for an NFL player than he called world champion Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern time with the NFL Today. So the Dolphins could conceivably be at home next Sunday. Winning today, they will be at home in the first round. Long ball downfield. Eric Moulds fields it beautifully and steps out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Number 80, Eric Moulds. And look at that Jets and Oakland score. This game has gone back and forth a half a dozen times, it seems. The Jets need that game to be in the playoffs.
Still 6:05 to play in that game, Steve, so it's going to go back and forth some more, it looks like.
Seattle starting to distance themselves, as we saw a moment ago with Jim Nantz from Kansas City.
How can people not want Trent Dilfer? 20-0 in his last 20 starts. Travis Brown makes a throw and a connection to Larry Centers, a guy you said, Steve, catches the ball all week long in practice with one hand.
Yeah, you see him drop one in practice, and everybody turns around and looks and starts yelling at him. They don't see it very often. He catches everything one-handed.
Orland Greenwood was on the stop, but the Bills now moving down quickly. Going into alignment, Travis Brown, another throw, another catch. This one is to Peerless Price. So an all-out passing game without a huddle, a 2-minute offense coming with 6:55 to play, and now Doug Brown is calling the play.
He's probably getting a little help in the radio, but he also has a list of plays that he'll go to as a quarterback in the 2-minute.
Handoff. This is Larry Centers running, and Centers spinning and twisting and getting down close to the 20-yard line.
Travis Brown being the backup, excuse me, Don, you know he has not had very many reps at all in a 2-minute offense for this Buffalo Bills team. Alex Van Pelt has gotten most of the reps in the last 2 months, and before that, it was Rob Johnson.
Long ball to the end zone. What a catch. But he got it out of bounds. Eric Moulds comes down with the ball. Eric's another guy who's talking about playing in the NBA. Like Tony Gonzalez.
Well,
you got all pro players talking about a game that they can't play.
Yeah, well, you'll see here his left foot's not going to come down in bounds. But Eric Moulds will play in the NBA when they start drafting power forwards into the NFL.
He has been dangerous for the Dolphins to defend, though. Last game in late November, he had 196 yards receiving against Miami. 2 catches for touchdowns. Here's a nice throw to Remersma. Over the middle on a 2nd down and 10 play. He gets into the 15-yard line. We got a moment. Certainly congratulations in order for Larry Coker and the Miami Hurricanes on their national championship. What a team. They're playing on the wrong day. They should be playing on Sunday.
Wow. Man. A lot of electricity in South Florida over that game.
Throw and a free ball. Is that picked? Now it hit the ground very nearly. Remersma had the ball in his hands. Tonight on 60 Minutes, while security experts are reasonably certain they can protect the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City from terror attack, they tell 60 Minutes that they're not so sure they can say the same about Athens when the Summer Olympics are held there 2.5 years from now. It's on 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Richard Dreyfuss and the education of Max Bickford. Then Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery star on the network premiere of Entrapment. All tonight on CBS. 4th down. Travis Brown looks, makes a throw, connection. It is a 1st down and goal inside the 5-yard line. With still 5:40 left to play. Addison and Brock Marion make the stop. Nicely done. 11 yards on 4th down.
Miami Dolphins playing in zone defense, watching the Buffalo Bills, just watching the eyes of Travis Brown trying to break on the football. This is the time of the game when the Dolphins defense comes up with big plays.
Well, they came up with a good play there, Steve. Run stop for no gain. Buffalo will be shooting at the end zone now, and now the Bills are going to take a timeout. Stopping the clock with 5:13. This is Brian Walker. What a day 45 has had. He's taken over for Zach Thomas today as the tackling machine.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the United States Army, an army of one. And by new Pepsi Twist. Pepsi and Diet Pepsi with a twist of lemon.
Bills with the ball, 7-yard line, 2nd down and goal coming up. They send their two best wide receivers to the right, Eric Moulds and Peerless Price. Near side is Avion Black, split out. Blitz is coming, full force. Timing throw. Back of the end zone, and it's broken up as he shoots to Eric Moulds, and terrific defensive play by a guy who makes them all season long, Patrick Surtain.
That's one of the matchups that's been huge all day. Eric Moulds hasn't been much of a factor. You see there's Peerless Price goes inside, Moulds goes outside, and Travis Brown, I think, is just a little late with that throw. Gave Surtain a chance to get back into the play. You got to throw that ball quick, early, and decisively, and that's something coming off the bench. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah, this kid has played well, though.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to him. He really has played well.
3rd and goal. Timing throw. Jump ball puts up there, and not even close to a connection. See, the guys had no snaps, no reps. It's nobody's fault. Certainly not his.
That's a miscommunication. Eric Moulds was running the hard slant, and Brown was throwing the fade.
Now 4th and goal.
You know, the thing about this Buffalo Bills team, they've looked bad at times this year. They've looked overmatched at times. They've looked confused at times. But the one thing that Chris Williams has them doing, they have never given up. They've played hard. They continue to work and to get better. And that's a foundation that Greg Williams, I think, is very proud of.
They've certainly gotten better in the last half of the season. Now they have to get real good on 4th down. Here comes the blitz. There's the throw, and not even close. Remersma protesting he was fouled, but the ball was uncatchable anyway.
He's not going to get that call.
So the Dolphins take over on downs after the Bills get it down close.
You look back at this game, we'll give you a chance to look at some of the key plays that have happened all through this matchup. So this is the early interception by Arturo Freeman. And then Alex Van Pelt, and that's the last play he played during the game. Here's Lamar Smith and the big push by the offensive line as they started to dominate. And then Buffalo answers with Larry Sanders to keep them in the ball game. And then Miami starts to lengthen it out.
The quick hitch goes out to James McKnight, and in he goes. Now the Dolphins pound away with Lamar Smith. We were told that they're probably going to use Travis Minor a lot more today because he's a better pass catcher and more explosive, but they came out hammering away with Lamar Smith, and he has delivered the goods as a Bill is down now. That's rookie Kendrick Office shaken up. Lamar Smith has run today 25 times. He's gained 128 yards for the Dolphins.
He's had a very good game. And it's crucial for the Dolphins to continue to be able to run the football. You talk about teams, and it's hard to pick a team other than maybe Pittsburgh in the AFC that has dominated. But I'll tell you what, a team like Miami is structured to be very good in the playoffs. They don't make mistakes, and you see that right. Kendrick Offense just falls down. I don't know whether his knee buckled.
Yeah, they're looking at his right leg.
Although now the stretch that they're doing right there, you see him stretching his calf muscle. Yeah, it seems like it may be a cramp.
You know he didn't faint. But he's going to be all right. But you talk about the Bills like coming down here and playing in warm weather.
Yeah, it's a plus. It's a plus. They soak up the good weather after living up there in that snowstorm they've had for the last 2 weeks. It's been a huge bonus for them, and it always is.
This gives us a chance to tell you that the executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. The coordinating director is Larry Cavallina. Today's game was produced by Jim Rickoff and directed by Kathy Barretto. The senior producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann and is directed by Bob Mattina. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate director of today's game was Sean Gerchikoff. The broadcast associate, Jason Ross. The technical manager, Dan Barron. The men and women of CBS Sports, and we thank them all as the Dolphins heading to the playoffs and heading towards a second straight 11-5 season in as many seasons under Dave Wanstead as head coach. Second down, and here comes the run. Lamar Smith goes bang out to the 15-yard line. It'll bring up third down and about 3. Spoon and Prelo on the stop.
Yeah, you talk about this Dolphins team and how important games are late in the year. And this is what happened the last 3 years. You see, they defeated in the first round of the playoffs, but then they got absolutely crushed in the second round. And that's why they want to have a home game, a home playoff game. That's why they were hoping to have a bye and then a home playoff game. It gets very difficult in the later rounds of the playoffs because teams are better prepared, they play harder, and they make fewer mistakes.
Well, that's why that week off means so much, too. Last year, the Dolphins, they were just out of gas when they went against the Raiders after they had spent everything they had beating the Colts in the previous week. Raiders had a week off.
And I'll tell you, you're in the playoffs, Don, you have no choice. You've got to win the game. You pull out all the stops, and then if there's nothing left the next week, you just have to live with it.
We were part of the Bills team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Bills really getting ready. They'll have the 4th pick in the next draft. Handoff, ahead for a first down, and so much more. Lamar Smith running with a vengeance. You know, Lamar Smith, they're running him to death today. And we'll see how much he has left next week because they're going to need him again. That was a 25-yard run by Lamar Smith. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. I'm Don Criqui along with Steve Tasker. Our score is the Dolphins 27 and the Bills 7. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
Yeah, that last play is all too familiar to the Buffalo Bills. They get behind late in the game. They attack the line of scrimmage to try and rip the ball out or make something big happen, and it leaves them vulnerable to a big play.
Lamar Smith now with 156 yards rushing, and he's not done. Although he lost a couple there. Leif Larson, a big defensive tackle, slams him back.
He seems to be down.
He's shaken up now.
The New York Jets in Oakland. That game is at the 2-minute warning that you see.
22-21, the Raiders in the lead. Raiders battling for a week off.
Greg Williams comes onto the field. As he's one of those head coaches always on the field when one of his players is down. And you know, this has been a long, long season, his first as a head coach. And I think not only has his team gotten better, I think he's gotten better as well. Here's the play. Right on the shoulder. Leif Larson. It's a project. You can tell his name, Leif Larson. He's a
big project.
Yeah. He's big.
There he goes off.
Speaks with a Norwegian accent around the locker room of the Bills. Everybody has their own Leif Larson imitation. Nobody, I don't think anybody does it to him to his face, right? He's got one of those guys that benches 510 pounds.
He was born in Norway.
Yeah, he speaks with an accent. So it's always fun to.
No, I don't think they kid him a lot.
Yeah, they can do that. I'm not going to take the chance. But he's been a project that's been improving, and I think he's going to hang around for a while longer. His strength is immense. That's why he's in there inside a defensive tackle.
Well, he went to Texas El Paso, which is a long way from Oslo. Here he is, a Bill, and now the handoff against Lamar Smith. I mean, how much is in that tank?
You think what happened during the Chris Chambers, the rookie wide receiver, started this game for the Dolphins and had to leave the game, and this is the play in which he was injured or re-injured his ankle. Right there.
He's a very important guy.
He has not been back on the field since this play. It's a big play. You can tell here what a great surprise he's been for these Dolphins. They need him next week. They need Lamar Smith next week. They need Zach Thomas next week.
And they expect to get Oronde Gadsden, their best receiver, with 55 catches, who was inactive today. Oronde troubled by a continuing hamstring problem that limits him. He played last week in the win over Atlanta, but they elected not to put him in there today. They want him fresh for the playoffs. Boy, that week off, well, you've been through a lot of playoff scenarios with the Bills. The week off is huge, isn't it?
No, you can't overstate it. That's why you look at the New England Patriots. They've had a bye week. They play this week. If they get a bye week next, they'll play one game in a month, and that is huge.
Lamar Smith with his 30th carry of the day.
You see there the graphic. St. Louis will have home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs.
They are good. And they'll be in the dome all the way through the Super Bowl if they get there. Hit downfield, and it'll roll down to the 16-yard line. And now with 1:58 left to play, the Bills send their offense out one more time as a 2-minute warning. The Dolphins on the way to the playoffs in the home field next weekend. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker looking for playoff favorites. Pittsburgh and St. Louis, not a hard call, but that's where I think it's going to the Super Bowl.
Well, in the AFC, it's going to go through Pittsburgh. It was snowing off and on there today in their game, and I'm telling you what, that's a tough team to beat with a running game like they've got.
I think the team that can beat St. Louis in a dome, though, is no team. Here is a throw downfield, and a catch is made out of the 31-yard line. Sidearming the ball downfield, a tremendous advantage for the Rams right near the top in offense and defense. And the Steelers, the thing that you had to like them, and you have to like them at home in this tough weather outdoors in Pittsburgh, but John Kitna lit him up for over 400 yards passing a week ago. There's a chink in that defense.
That spells trouble in the Super Bowl if it is Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
Against the Rams? On the run, Travis Brown. And flies to a safe, sure halt with a first down. 11 yards, but too little, far too late with 1:15 left to play.
You spoke a moment ago about St. Louis and their opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And you think there's no team that can beat them. Well, it's been proven this year there's one team that can beat St. Louis, and they can beat themselves. They turn the ball over more than anybody. That's the one hope a team has going into that indoor stadium against them.
The Jets have just taken the lead in Oakland on a field goal with about a minute to go.
That's less than a minute to go.
Unbelievable.
On a 53-yard field goal by the Jets, they may get into the playoffs.
By now, the Patriots are back in New England, having won handily today, as George Seifert was ushered out as coach of the Panthers after that 38-7 win by the Patriots. And now the Patriots rooting for the Jets to knock off the Raiders, and that would give the Patriots week off. Slapped back nicely. Avion Black was the target. And Arturo Freeman, who's made a lot of plays today.
And that's a quarterback throwing in his first ball game. That was a bad throw at a bad time, and it almost cost him an interception for a touchdown. Arturo Freeman's going to think about that one all week.
So the Dolphins on this field will be in action next weekend in a wild card game in the AFC. Their hammer today was Lamar Smith, 30 carries for 158 yards and a touchdown. Travis Brown throws, and look at Eric Moulds on the run. And he's down inside the 45-yard line. Mar Fletcher brings him down. The Bills quickly go into alignment without a huddle.
And Travis Brown getting some key experience, spiking the ball, 33 seconds left.
Steve, the Bills have the 4th pick in the next draft. What do you hear? What do you think? Who do you think they might be drafting?
They're going to have to draft some offensive linemen, some defensive linemen. They feel they need an upgrade in their defensive secondary at the safety positions. But I think they've got the 4th pick no matter what happens today. The word is they're going to trade down. I think the biggest currency that you can have in the NFL today is draft picks. And they're going to use that high draft pick to try and barter for more draft picks.
And hopefully the greatest Buffalo Bill of them all, Ralph C. Wilson, will be voted into the Hall of Fame soon. He sure deserves it. Without him, there'd be no Buffalo Bill. It's a great play by Peerless Price. Two guys that should be in the Hall of Fame are Ralph Wilson and Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner, who has done a phenomenal job.
He took over for a great commissioner, Pete Rozelle.
He's been a great commissioner.
And this league has taken another step under Paul Tagliabue. It is the premier professional sports league on the planet. And you look at this Miami Dolphins team and this Bills game and the Jets and Oakland game and the New England game earlier today. All these teams with a chance to have an effect on everybody else, and everybody right at the wire at the end of the season. I mean, what a great season it's been in the NFL.
Tremendous. The world's greatest league. Here's a throw and almost a catch. Jeremy McDaniel can't bring it in. Scott Gallion was defending on the play. 9 seconds left to play. Bills might trade down in the draft. A lot of spec. Their president, Tom Donahoe, is a very good drafter. as evidenced by some of these mid-round guys that are playing a lot now this year as rookies.
The Bills have more of their draft picks in the starting lineup than any team in the National Football League, and they're there and playing well. They have played extremely well for first-year players, and they've raised some eyebrows around the league about how impressive that draft turned out to be for them.
Go to the end zone, picked off. Here's a penalty marker thrown on the run. And taken at the distance is Brock Marion if it goes, but there are markers down on the field. What an exclamation point to the final regular season game. If it goes. 99 yards if it goes.
As the Dolphins head into the playoffs, they're going to do it with a head of steam. At the expense of Greg Williams and Buffalo Bills.
It's good.
It's going to count.
That's the 6th defensive touchdown by the Dolphins this season.
This penalty's going against
Personal
Buffalo.
Foul, grabbing a face mask, number 75 on the offense. Touchdown counts. We look at the count.
They're going to have to stay on the field to attempt the extra point. There's a number of people coming on the field. The security's on the field. They don't realize they've still got to play this last extra point.
This looks like the Cale
You see there,
Stanford
Lamar
game.
Smith and a lot of the Dolphins are headed in. I've been through that here on the other end of it, where you can't stop the game. There has to be an extra point or a point after.
Unless it's overtime.
Unless it's overtime.
Officially now, we're told by our statistician, Bill George, it is a 100-yard interception return by Brock Marion for a touchdown. Second straight week he's run back an interception for a touchdown. And so the Dolphins head to the playoffs with a real head of steam. Now for Steve Tasker, this is Don Criqui saying so long from Pro Player Stadium. The final score is the Miami Dolphins 34, the Buffalo Bills 7. Another 11-5 regular season for the Dolphins. Coming up next on CBS, the NFL Today. You've been watching the NFL on CBS as we go to Jim Nantz in New York.
Don